Production.
All right. Well, one of those things you don't expect to happen on an off day for a team that's 37-20, and there's a lot of little things going on. And one of the things I've been wanting to do for the longest period of time, when this happened, this happened, I've been waiting to do this for a long time, gentlemen, and I'm gonna play this for you guys right now because this is what happens when you're impromptu, real quick. It is my pleasure to finally play this once and for all.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. We've been waiting.
Yeah, been waiting for a long time for that.
Well, I mean, they do have Dylan Dingler on the team too, but it's
Yeah.
always nice if you can have multiple Dylans with multiple spellings. I think you got to do it.
Yeah, but that's the correct spelling is not the correct. Sorry, the Dylan that they're referring to in that sequence right there. So,
But no, it's a cool story because Dylan Smith was kind of an afterthought. I mean, we ranked him a few years ago on our list, because he looked promising, and then basically as soon as he got to Double A, everything went south. And it was like performance, but mostly like injuries. And he made it to the AFL last year and looked okay, but he came out this year firing upper 90s with a pair of really interesting breaking balls, and he's got a split change. And the walks have been a little bit high, but when he's throwing strikes, people haven't been able to touch him. So it's pretty fun for them to give him a look.
yeah, they've been. It was one of those things too where he started raising some eyebrows down in with Hinch and a couple others, and then I was down at the ballpark over the weekend for the Tarek School outing on Sunday, and I was talking to some of the beat writers, and we're just talking about Dylan Smith, and I ended up doing this. It was funny. I did a scouting report not too long ago, the update originally, and then we just did a Patreon breakdown of his stuff just in Erie alone. And the fact is, what stood out to me then was the fact that he was getting out lefties and righties, and Chris was pointing out too the ability to elevate his fastball and time it up with his slider and get the swing and miss stuff. I mean, he was the best reliever Erie had outside of Pettit, and then as soon as he got to Toledo, I was like, it's just a matter of time before he gets to Detroit, because Detroit doesn't really have a swing and miss guy right now. Well, I mean, another swing and miss guy they can go to, short of Vest right now.
Yeah.
And Smith made the most sense. I mean, he bulked up. He looks. I mean, he's airing out. He's hitting 96, 97, even before he got to Toledo, and he had major injury. Smith, did he have was shoulder issues, Chris? I can't remember what it was.
I thought it was shoulder soreness, but I don't remember exactly what the issue was. I know I don't think he had like Tommy John or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of like you're on the shelf for months at a time.
Yeah, almost like dead arm. Almost like I felt like it was like, and then maybe it's just also the case he needed to bulk up a little bit, get stronger. But either way, it's worked out, and
Now, is he 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in there?
Yeah,
I think he's 6'3".
Okay.
Let me see.
he is.
It says 6'2", 180 according
that's
to MILB.
Yeah, on the report. Yeah,
He's one of those high-waisted kids who looks taller than he is.
Okay.
And
That explains it, maybe.
yeah, but yeah, no, it's I don't know, it's exciting. It's they could have called up Tyler Owens, and they've got Chase Lee up right now, and Tyler Madison just made his first rehab outing the other day. Some bullpen arms are possibly here to help, and it's kind of like Raj has been saying that he thinks that the Tigers are going to seek internal options before they go out and trade for a reliever.
yeah. I mean, it's just because that's the way they're gonna look at what they have first before they go out and trade prospects. Because another guy they might consider at one point, maybe Matt Seelinger, because he's been. Oh, he's having a bad outing, Chris.
He gave up a 2-run homer in the ninth tonight to
the Rios.
The Mud Hens were up 3-2, and now it's 4-3. But other than that, that happens to relievers. But yeah, he's an interesting guy too, with a pretty nasty curveball that's a strange, interesting, unique pitch.
I think she wants to come in. She wants a bed. That's what she wants.
The
Sorry,
dog.
The dog. My producer Lucy is crying because I did not put the bed in here before the show started, and so I'm not disrespecting the King or Tommy Kane swing and miss, but they do need another swing and miss reliever, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Kahnle can't pitch every night, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of these bullpens is that you need guys, multiple guys who could. And the Tigers are pretty fortunate in that they have Kahnle and Vest, who they're both very comfortable pitching. You know, the 8th, 9th, whenever they need them. But you still need more. You need like 5 of those guys if you really want to. Like, we're not playing around here, right? The Tigers have the best record in baseball. They have the best pitcher in baseball. They have an offense that's overperforming, but it's pretty good. Go win the World Series, right? Go,
Right.
like, if not now, when? So, yeah, you got to make improvements where you need them, and it's definitely in the bullpen.
yeah. Who was it? Was it Herman Edwards that you play to win or
Hey, win the game.
you play to win the game?
Hello.
Yeah. And that's what they're doing right now. And I'm glad that they're at least looking at other options too, other than just going, well, we have Tyler Owens here, might as well. No, they're just like, no, screw it. We're gonna play the hot hand and see how it works for him. But it's the fact also too. Here's the thing: Smith is not afraid of squirrels. No, the deadly ninja bee, the squirrel thing that was it was mentioned in the broadcast. The thing about Dylan Smith too, as far as options, like comparatively speaking to somebody like Matt Manning too, it seems like to me, and the general consensus is that Smith has been open to instruction and learning, getting better. Whereas, it basically, if you play the rules of the game, you'll have a chance. And so, that's a bode well for him. But it was the moment he started neutralizing left, he was like, oh well, all right, well, there's something here for that could definitely help him on the next level because. And that'll definitely help your splits out too. Kevin says, "Hey guys, I'm sitting behind home plate at the Dragons, watching Whitecaps thrash the Dragons." You know what? I think I saw your tweet earlier, Kevin. I think you were tweeting that out. That's pretty cool. And I think the weather looks pretty nice down there tonight too. Beautiful night out here in Michigan, despite the clouds and everything. I went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs today, so
Outstanding.
Money.
It was my son's final soccer practice before their final game of the year, and so it was kids versus parents. And
really?
I was out
Did you
there.
play?
Yeah, I was out there, Diego Maradona in it, just pudgy and dominating.
But you weren't doing this the whole time, right? Like you were.
No.
Diego on coke was better than like half the world. It was so amazing. Like when he got fat and somehow he still was really good.
Yeah, it's a funny thing about soccer, man. Is you can be one of the world's greatest players. Like Messi is what, like 5'6",
Yeah,
like 140 pounds.
soaking wet. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's if you're skilled like Maradona was, one of the greatest skilled players of all time in the hand of God goal. But anyway, yeah, that was me out there.
So, by the way, Matt would chime in with Andrew Hoffman. He was a splitter. Was a Traverse City pit spitter. Has officially made it to the big leagues, so he becomes the 4th pit spitter to be called up. Congratulations to him,
Andrew Hoffman.
Yeah,
Huh.
cool.
Yeah, he's having a good year for the Omaha.
Yeah. So he'll be
So
also.
what do we think is up with Jackson Jobe? Where are we here?
It's a combination of it could be it sounds like arm fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Like
I
a
think.
dead arm sort of thing. I don't know. I actually I wasn't able to watch that game. I don't know how he looked in comparison to how he's looked for the rest of the year. It looked like kind of a typical Jackson Jobe start. Like the strikes were not enough strikes, and the fastball was getting hit around, but he was dancing in and out of trouble for the most part.
He really
He
Came
did
up
say
with a couple big strikeouts in key moments.
he did say this. He said that this year he has pitched the most stress innings he's had in his entire career. And that was something I think he said before the game, before his start. So it could be a combination of that. I mean, it is a different type of mentality when you're out there in the minors, comparatively speaking, here, and he's put a lot more pressure innings. And I think it was Cody Saberhagen who mentioned his velocity was a little down too. And then after the game, Evan Metzel reported that the Tigers locked down the clubhouse and everything. And yeah.
Do you think those two things are related?
What the
Locked clubhouse and Jobe leaving? It seems like everybody's putting them in the
well, he
same
didn't.
bucket.
He didn't talk to the reporters afterwards, so I mean that's probably related to that.
You know, all we're left with is speculation there.
Yeah.
You know, AJ Hinch, we know, likes to keep a lid on everything, right? That's why the coaches don't talk to the press at all. And who knows what was going on, what may have happened. There may have been, yeah, I don't know. Like, we can speculate a billion different things, but yeah, they closed it down, and we won't know. And that's, I think, how the way that AJ Hinch likes it.
Yeah.
So I was listening to Jeff Ponce earlier today on Baseball America, and he was talking about the 1.5 miles per hour down in velocity for Jobe. I was struck by how significant they feel that is. I mean, do you guys mirror that? I mean, just to a layperson,
Oh, my
you wouldn't think it sounds like that much.
Sorry, Briseño just hit his third home run of the game. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, go get that real quick.
Nice.
Dude, he is man possessed all of a sudden. Good Lord. Yeah, so Tigers Twitter went insane after a start. It was tough to read after a while. People calling him to be traded, sent down. He sucks, whatever. Andrew, he's a rookie. People need to lighten up a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of, you realize after a while that Twitter is only like 2% or less than 2% of the population.
Yeah.
And after a while, when you realize that, it dawns on you, especially after Tigers Jet UK. We got a lot to get to, too. So yeah, Tigers Jet UK. There's a prime example. I got to finally meet him. It was good. We had he indulged in Sweetwater wings yesterday with me and Mark Garash. And you've had Sweetwater before, right, Mike? Please tell me you have.
Of course.
Okay, yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. The greatness that is Sweetwater wings. But it was a chance to get. I wish I had a chance to watch a game with Jed, and we were talking about the minors yesterday. I got to meet his lovely wife and his buddy, I believe Ben or Brandon. I can't remember his name. Apologies on that. But I had to go. I was working the game on Sunday, and I worked the hell of a game Sunday.
Yeah.
And that was it was one of those moments too where when I got to ask Scooble about a Maddox, he didn't know what a Maddox was, but his response was great because he's like, I'm out there just do escalates, and it was funny because like, oh yeah, you got 13 strikeouts, most per max game. Oh really? Oh cool. It was like his reaction was pretty cool, and so, but yeah, I wish I had more time to talk to Jed or anything, but we'll address the skiing stuff later because I think it's stupid. And yeah, you're right, Samuel. If I didn't have Twitter for this, I mean, if it wasn't for Twitter, I would have never met any of these guys. Actually, come to think about it. Well,
True.
Yeah, sure. No, I would have not met Chris. I would not met Uper. I would never met Mike.
True.
So yeah, I mean, Uper was originally a fan of the old podcast back in the day, and the only reason why I met, and he was a staff member of Motor City Bengals, and I met Mike through somebody else on Twitter. So Twitter has been, and I'm friends with so many people that I've met Stan, I've met a couple other people. I might have met Daily Ninja Bees and might not even known it, so I don't know. But yeah, there's it's just, yeah, you have to really filter your. It's like, I like the way you put this here. Twitter's not a good place to hang out. It's like hang out on the streets of Gotham.
Dude, I've people, you got to go looking for it. I don't see anything that people are like, oh my God, it's so bad. You don't have to scroll through every comment under every post, y'all.
That's
true. You can read a little bit of information and then you can move on. And that's it. That's actually what I love about Twitter is that I don't have to read the comments. They're not prominently displayed. I just move on. I don't know. That's what I look at.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's just move on to
right.
the other thing I wanted to get back to Tigers Jet UK too is props to the Tigers PR department for the way they handled everything with that, giving him the opportunity to live out a dream like that. So I thought it was really cool, Tigers PR, to do a thing like that, and that was really cool. To me, it was just very cool.
I'll say, if I were to complain about Twitter, it's the bots right now that are super annoying. Every time we post a highlight, it's like, hey, congratulations to Jose Briseño, and so did this awesome thing with crypto. I'm like, what? Damn you. And I'm getting DMs. I have my DMs open so people can talk to me about baseball if they want. And I'm getting like 15 fake DM group conversations a day. And it's super frustrating. So that's annoying. There's like zero moderation anymore. They cut it down to bare bones, but it's still effective for what I mean, for our purposes, we
Yeah.
spread these highlights pretty far and wide and talk to people, so it's still good there. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was. I feel bad that I wasn't able to get down and hang out with Jed at all. I was in Pittsburgh most of last week, and then also I had on Monday and Tuesday. And it didn't work out for me, but I'm glad that he came out here and had, looked like he went to about 35 Tigers games,
Yeah.
which is outstanding.
Great
Yeah.
time. No question.
No.
And all right,
What happened?
Blind Madris walk-off grand slam.
All right.
Of course.
Yeah. So very busy night in the minor leagues tonight.
Well,
But let's go back and let's talk about the series against the Giants too. And there was a couple really Tigers are now 10-5 at 1-run games. A lot of tight games. Giants bullpen very good. Rainy Rodriguez, that was the guy I came with impressed. But Justin Hammerloy with a clutch hit going opposite. It was an opposite field single, wasn't it? I believe it was.
No, he pulled it.
He pulled. Oh, was it a pulled single? Oh yeah, I thought it was an opposite field single.
He kind of reached. It was outside half, I think, and he reached out and got it.
Okay, that was a nice piece of hitting there, and that was just another example of Hinch using the bench. And there was the entire series against the Giants. You had they faced Logan Webb's no slouch or anything like that, but I thought the biggest takeaway from the series is even with the deficiencies in the bullpen a little bit. I thought Hinch did a very good job. Once again, you guys are talking about people in the chat. We're talking about him being compared to Leland and Anderson. If there's one thing about Leland and Anderson, Sparky Anderson, that has the same DNA as AJ Hinch, is using their bench correctly and using their bench to the fullest. I know people would complain about, speaking of the early days on Twitter, why does Ernie Dirks bat? Or, I'm sure if there's an 80s version of Twitter, why is Tommy Brookins playing third today instead of Darnell Coles, or whatever the case is. There is a lot of that, there's a lot of that mindset. But guys, it's 162 games, and Hinch uses he put up Baez in center field in the last game of the series, and it's like a chess match to him. And I really thought that against Bud Black, is it Bud Black who's the manager of the Giants?
Bob Melvin.
Bob Melvin, yeah, Bud Black's the former Giants pitcher, right? Yeah,
Probably.
But Black just got fired as the manager of the Rockies.
yeah, that's right. Okay, I got my Bud's, whatever.
Former Padres manager.
Yeah,
yes.
former Padres manager. Either way, it was a chess match that Hinch won the series.
When you look at that series after the Tigers, they lose the series to the Guardians, right? And to be honest, I walked away from the Guardians series feeling it wasn't as bad as some people thought. I mean, they lost 3 out of 4, and that sucks. But each team won a semi blowout, and then the Tigers just dropped the 2 close games in the middle. It really wasn't the end of the world. But you knew that for everybody's sanity, it'd be really nice if they could bounce back with the Giants. And with the way the Giants pitch, they were going to miss Robbie Ray, which was a good thing. But with that Giants bullpen, you knew those games are going to be kind of low scoring and tight. The defense was really going to matter, and that pursuing 1 or 2 matchups per night that really where you have a little bit of an advantage was going to be key. And that's, as Roger's saying, that's really key where AJ Hinch shines. Finding those 1 or 2 really good matchups over the course of a game that can help you swing it, And the Tiger bullpen was great. They did a really good job in the Giants series, just keeping things in check. Pitched out of a couple jams here and there, but that was a fun series, and just for the fact that it was kind of low scoring, tighty games, and they were able to come out on top.
Mike, what about you? What was your kind of takeaways from the series?
Well, I don't know. I kind of disagree with you on the Guardian series. None of the losses against the Guardians was close. Saturday was not close. They
Extra innings.
went to extra innings, and the Tiger. What I mean is just it. You get a feeling. I don't know. Maybe it's dumb, but like when you watch both of those games, their offense just looked like it had the complete chance to go dormant and to show us that, we know they're outperforming. Maybe this is the time they enter a slump. And then they come back against a Giants team that's, I think, better than the Guardians team they just faced, and they sweep them. Just looking at it as a full series, I think that just speaks volumes about this roster. The ability to just bounce back from something like that is huge. Because it was deflating for me anyway, and I'm not a professional baseball player. I barely competently talk about it on this podcast. But my point is just that was deflating, and it feels good to beat a really good team in San Francisco. It's holding their own. And how about Chase Lee, man? I love. Kid looks like he walked in off the streets, and they're like, "Look, we don't have a jersey that fits you." So, like, this is the smallest one we got. His hat looks like it's hanging off his head, and he's doing real well. It's crazy.
The Viper.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
fought his way into the circle of trust real quickly. No question.
Yeah.
You go out, they'll give you chances, and if you go out and perform, that they'll keep doing it. The Cleveland series was disheartening, of course, because those first 3 losses, but in a way, it kind of reminded me of the Dodgers series to start the year. I think they went 6 for 34 with runners in scoring position in that series, and it was 4 for 24, I think, through the first 3 games, something like that. Like, they just couldn't get that big hit. When that is Cleveland having an excellent bullpen. When you get the bases loaded and Cade Smith just strikes everybody out, that helps. But some of it was just kind of dumb luck, I think, and then the part of the schedule. And I would bet, I haven't looked, but they probably had more runners in scoring position in the Cleveland series or per game in Cleveland than they did against San Francisco. And they happened to get the hits they needed against San Francisco. It's just one of those things. They pitched pretty well, I think, for the most part, other than the late inning bullpen meltdown in that extra inning game. But and Skubal, I guess, had an okay game. So. Yeah, I think, Mike, to your point, though, it really is like this. Every time you feel like they're headed for a slide, or maybe something bad's going to happen, they just turn it around and figure out a way to win a series, sweep a series. Who knows, man? Like, and it's wild. They haven't had a winning streak of more than 5 games this year. They're just playing like 5-1 every week.
It's one of those things too, where I think for Cleveland, against Cleveland, it's always death by 1,000 cuts. They'll paper cut you to death. That's how Cleveland is. They'll nickel and dime you the whole time. And that performance Sunday, which Samuel said that it's one of the best you ever seen in a Tigers uniform. Maybe ever seen a Tigers uniform. Yeah, I would agree with that, because the only person that did any damage was, they allowed 2 hits. Jose Ramirez got his 18th hit, I believe. He had a hitting streak keep going. Look, I don't care what anybody says. I know people don't like Jose Ramirez, but I still respect the guy because he's a hell of a damn hitter. And he took advantage of a team that was swinging early in the count and was able to come up with a game plan. And a lot of things, too, you gotta give props to where Dylan Dingler is now. He's like, Dylan Dingler is the number 1 catcher right now. And Jacob Rogers, I think there was an article about that today, where he's like basically saying, all right, I'm not the sheriff anymore. Dingler's it, essentially. And he called a great game. And they also had and Skubal talked about this with us. I can't believe I said that. It sounded really weird. Us. But he did say this after to the media when I was out there, that he had to call hand signals because the crowd was so loud. That's why he went out there, because they couldn't hear. He couldn't hear because the crowd was so loud in the pitch comm, and he didn't want the Cleveland to hear what they were going to call next. So that's why they had that little conference in the mound. So the crowd was feeling it. He was feeling up with the crowd. The crowd, and that whole synergy right there was really good. It was a really, all things considering, the weather being kind of, I don't want to say mild, but it is kind of colder than normal. There were some really good walk-ups for him. So, but Todd is still not a believer of Dingler. Is it Dingler? Yeah.
Or the Tigers.
Still not a believer. Okay. All right. Well, either way, that is a debate that continues. But if the Tigers are going to, we'll talk about that here in a second. But let's just go inside the numbers. Okay. Sorry. sorry. Chris, what's your insider number this week?
Oh, well, it was 10 because at the time, that was the number of home runs Josue Briseño had and the number of total bases he had in tonight's game. He now has 11 home runs and 14 total bases, 3 homers and a double. Just kind of a monstrous performance. It's kind of wild that, like, you look at his numbers and he's batting, I don't know, it's like 265, 270 right now, which doesn't seem great, but his BABIP is like 250. And even when you break it down in May, it's even kind of funnier. He's hitting 216 in May, heading into today, with a 185 BABIP. Part of that maybe, he's pretty darn slow, and maybe he's hitting a lot of fly balls, but he's also rocking like a 22% walk rate to a 17% strikeout rate. Tons of power. Like, it can be hard to, or easy to forget that he is 20. He doesn't turn 21 until the end of September. He is younger than Kevin McGonigal. He's like 3 months older than Max Clark. He's like 8 months older than Bryce Rayner. He's a monster prospect. You could argue he's one of the 3 best prospects in the system. And, right now it's kind of looking like he might be, the best international player they've signed in a long time.
Wow.
I'm going to get the compost double, Chris. So
okay, thank you.
I'll get
that. While we were talking about Dingler, I was looking just as a backup. He has the 7th best defensive rating on Fangraphs right now in all of baseball at 8.4. So that's the thing about him. Like, you feel like that the batting average is going to drop because he's walking under 2%, and it's like a 370 BABIP. But what he's doing on defense is even is probably more impressive. So anyway. There you go. Bonus inside the number, 8.4. I don't know. Mike, what's yours?
Sorry, I was putting yours down.
All right.
Mine is I have 13, 15, 16, and 3.2. So this is Pete Crow Armstrong's double home run stolen baseline and his total WAR per Baseball Reference. That is the second in all of baseball per Baseball Reference, just behind, like a full run behind Aaron Judge. So I don't know. He was always supposed to be really fast, and he did always have a strong hit tool and power tool, but the power wasn't really necessarily totally supposed to be there with him. He was never rated. He was never a top 10 prospect, although he was always like in the top 30 for them the last couple of years before he was called up. Just kind of looking at what happens when you hit on a guy and he hits the ground running like this. Just wanted to highlight his crazy season so far. He has 15 home runs and 16 stolen bases. Just nice. I mean, I'm a Tigers fan, so the stolen base to me is like a mythical thing. The Tigers have 20 stolen bases as a team, I think, or maybe it's 24, and this kid has 16 by himself. Like.
What's interesting is last year they were running wild in the minors. They had like 8 or 9 guys, maybe it was more than that, that had 20 plus steals. And this year they've basically stopped running at every level except Lakeland. They have a couple guys down there with double-digit steals, but they're just not stealing anymore. But they put this huge emphasis on going first to third, second to home, things like that. So it's kind of it seems like they've got some sort of modern Moneyball thing going on where you can get value out of taking the extra base, but it's not worth the risk trying to steal. I don't know.
Did you happen to see an article on Baseball America today about the Marlins minor league system?
I saw JJ Cooper tweeting about it. I didn't read it.
Some insane amount. Their success rate is pushing 90%, and they're system wide stealing like 2.5 bases a game. And it's not just by volume. Their success rate is insane. So they're trying to speculate what they're doing to teach these guys to steal bases so effectively. So those are different.
I saw that chart. The Tigers were in the opposite quadrant of the Marlins. They were up here, and the Tigers were like way down.
The Marlins are almost off the quadrant.
So the Tigers had 4 guys with 20 or more stolen bases last year, and 6 in double digits last year. So
I think even more if you do it. If you lower the qualified standard.
I put the qualified at zero. But hold on. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You
Talking
know
about
what?
the
You know
Tigers
what?
or the Tigers minor leagues?
You know what? That was my fault. I didn't put by all affiliated, so that's my fault. Hold on. Sorry about that. That's on me.
No,
I
it's all
take
good.
responsibility on that. So,
I'm
I have it right
looking.
here.
So I've
Where'd it
got 18 with double digits last year.
Yep.
Seth Stevenson with 60. You've got 11 with 20 plus.
Yeah, and they got Austin Murr. So they had 30 guys with 10 or more stolen bases last year. 30.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Yep.
Weird.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. All right. So, Uper, what is your insider number?
My inside number is 287. So, since the ill-fated and very unpopular in-the-moment trade to get Alfredo Simon, Mr. Eugenio Suarez has hit 287 career home runs since that date, plus his 4 with the Tigers. He's at 291. Now, sometimes people talk about that trade as though Suarez would still be a Tiger now. Okay, odds of that probably pretty low. Okay, it's been over 10 years. He probably would have moved on at some point, just hopefully for something better than what they got then. But with what's happened at third base for the Tigers, with Jace Young heading back to the minors, Matt Vierling heading back to the IL, the overall production at third base is, I think, in the bottom 5 in the majors. You start looking around, and I'll be honest, Nolan Arenado doesn't interest me much, but Eugenio Suarez does. He's signed through this year. He'd be a pure rental. The Diamondbacks are not playing to their level people expected, especially now Corbin Carroll's in a bit of a slump. They're going to have a hard time contending for the playoffs. A lot of people are speculating that they are going to dump some money and put some players out there. I think if the Tigers do zero in on a third baseman, Eugenio Suarez would be pretty cool to bring back to Detroit where he got his start. And, maybe add to that 291 home runs in Detroit. Now, he has, 5 times in his career hit 30-plus homers, including a 49 season. His OPS plus has been above league average 8 times out of 10. You can rely on the bat. Now, he's hitting 225 this year with a very low BABIP, but his slugging is over 500. The guy can still hit. And I think that power surge in the lineup would be pretty attractive to Detroit.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I mean, that would more than likely also not cost as much prospect wise too. I mean, it would cost you a prospect. Don't think it wouldn't cost you a bag of balls or anything like that. But
it's a rental, so it should keep it in check a little bit.
Yeah. Chris, did you go? I'm not sure. Did you go already?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Right when
still on bases.
You went and got the. No, I was talking about Briseño. You went and got the. You went and got the Campos double right.
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
what
time.
it was.
And if people want, Briseño is going to be up again this inning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Is he going to be up? Let me know when he's up so we can actually switch it and go live.
Max,
we can go
Max
live.
Clark, Max Clark just got called out on strikes, so you got Seth Stevenson up, and then Briseño's up after that.
Oh, Mitchell, by the way, Mitchell, I didn't know you were at Prospects Live. I started following you recently. Is Jordan Lawler trade crazy? I think that's a little too crazy. Same thing with Norby.
Sent him down, right?
I think so.
Lawler, yeah.
But
Let me know when he's up. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I don't think they would trade Lawler over Suarez.
No. So my inside number, my 2 numbers are 6 and 9. And that is that involves nice. The 6 is the amount of strikeouts that Gleyber Torres had in the homestand again between Cleveland and San Francisco. The 9, it's a walks, and he had an OPS of 957. And he's been taking. I mean, he was on the bases the entire time. He scored. He was all over the. He had 316 during the batting during the homestand, and continues to be like a professional hitter. This is exactly what the Tigers signed him to do, and he's doing exactly that. And he's been arguably quietly a really good quality free agent signing. So so funny how all of a sudden I saw Yankee fans like, "Oh, we miss you, Torres." I'm like, wait a minute, same fan base who wanted him out of town. Get out of here. It's nonsense. Like, how short-term memory we have. Yeah,
you can't have him. He's got a beard now. You can't have him back.
Well, now they got rid of that rule. Yeah. Problematic said that Suarez bad defensively. Yeah.
Oh,
What's happened? What happened?
pinch hitter Luke Gold replaces Josue Briseño.
Aw,
Boo.
boo.
Ooh,
Maybe they're
Come on,
sending him
Tony.
to Erie
What,
right
what are you,
now.
cut it out, Tony. What are you doing?
Boo. I mean,
Boo.
they are up 12-1. Maybe it's a.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Dayton, Dayton is not a good team. That's a horrible team. But the Whitecaps continue to roll on. And by the way, this does definitely help their run differential right now. So anybody want to take a guess at the Whitecaps' current run differential right now? Anybody in the audience or anybody among our hosts?
132.
I was going to say 147.
You say 132? Okay. What is your guess?
147 plus.
147? Okay. Chris, what is your guess?
128.
Well, after tonight, it'll be over 100. So right now they're at plus 89.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Oh, that's it.
That's
Oh,
all?
yeah.
No,
but
I mean, they're like. I mean, what's their record going to be after this? They're
they're going to be 33 and 15. They're going to be 33 and 15. But the second best run differential is by Quad Cities, the Royals affiliate, and they are plus 48. So the second closest team is plus 48. That's it. So after this game, they're going to be at over 100. Insane.
Not bad.
Not bad. And it's just, they now will. I think I'm not sure if Lansing's lost or not, but if they win tonight, Lansing loses. They open up a 7-game lead in the Midwest League East. There was a rumor earlier in the week about Clark going up to Erie, and I knew it was full of crap because essentially, until they clinch a playoff spot, and they make some moves from Erie to Toledo, there's nowhere for Clark to go. Colin, that's a good one too. Another number. He says 9 out of the last 10. That's the Mudhens, who will continue to roll on. And the walk-off grand slam is nice. Gabe Alvarez, Chris mentioned earlier, there was a tweet he did earlier in the week. On April 18th, Toledo had one of the worst records in the International League. Their run differential, they were minus 32 or something like that. And now they're over 500, and they're over on run differential. Hell of a damn job on Gabe Alvarez.
So Lansing's losing 10-2 right now.
So
they might not even be. Who's even in second place now? I'm looking.
Lake County's right behind them.
It's still Lansing and Lake County. Yeah. No, I mean, barring an epic collapse, the Whitecaps are gonna. I think they've got probably 20 games left.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, but
right now you should be. Here's another thing too. You should be root for Akron. Right now, Akron has the best run differential in the Eastern League at 115, but they're a half a game back. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Erie has the best run differential, 115, but they have right now, they're a half a game back of Akron, who will not lose. Akron will not lose. So, yeah, it's crazy.
32 and 16.
32 and 16. Before we move to the next segment, Mo, hey, new viewer, thanks for watching. Got a question for opinion about the Tigers. Is it bad that 1-1 runs are concerning me? Almost feels like luck. I don't know. Maybe it feels too good to be true. No, I mean, Mo, that's a fair question. I mean, the Tigers do have some little bit of bat pip luck to them. You are concerned a little bit about if some of this is just a matter of you want these 1-run games in October and in the postseason. That's when it matters the most. But like I said, I think there's still pause for concern a little bit because of the bullpen. You want to have another swing and miss guy in there, maybe another right-handed hitter, a veteran one. We're not going to sit here and think everything's Pollyanna and just go, oh, everything's all. There is some flaws in the team, and we're going to call them out when we see fit. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I think that the bullpen, and we'll talk about. I got this on something else later, but the bullpen has been good but not great. Correct? I mean, I think people would kind of agree with that in general. And they're still 10-5 in 1-run games with a bullpen that hasn't been the lockdown thing it was in the past. And I think that's actually a good sign because it seems like their bullpen can get better. With a couple moves and a couple guys, if Holton kind of gets it together, their bullpen can get even better and they can keep winning these close games because I don't think they're going to build a juggernaut offense, even though they are scoring 5 runs a game, and that's fantastic compared to what we've seen over the last decade. But, they're going to have to continue to probably get a lot of 5 and 6 inning starts, and they need to get 9 and 10 outs from their bullpen on a consistent basis to keep this up.
Where do we think that the Tigers bullpen isn't doing super well? They're still top 10 bullpen, right? In the league?
Oh yeah, they are. They're not a question. I'm just saying they're not quite the older.
You're right. They're not top 5 like they were like during the run last year. Like at the end and from August to the end of the year through the postseason, yeah, they were like a top 3, top 5 bullpen.
Correct.
But I don't know. I feel like there is a narrative that their bullpen isn't very good, but I just want to make sure we all realize they're still a top 10 bullpen. Like bullpen has been really good. There's just nobody. I don't know. I guess there's just no big strikeout guy that kind of matters to an extent, but like I don't know. Maybe it's just because there's no sexy closers getting all the saves. I don't know.
No, but I think to be fair, Holton has been pitching better as of late. I understand the Hanafi or even John
Brevia.
I don't say Brevia is a bust. He's just not what he is. I think the reason why people listen to us is because we're objective, and I just can't. I mean, we're also not going to do a hot take like, do you think the Tigers should trade their Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal for Paul Skeet and 248? No. That idea is ridiculous.
They should.
They should? Oh.
I mean, if it's possible, they should. It's not possible, but...
Yeah. No, I mean, Bob Nutting would probably lose a nut if that would happen. No. I mean, like, the Pittsburgh Pirates fans would... I don't know. Well, actually, Pirate fans are really smart. And they know their stuff, and they're like,
Brevia is not a bust. He had one bad outing, and it was 3 outings ago. This is what I mean. This is a bullpen arm. 3 outings ago, less than 2 innings ago, Brevia gave up 4 earned runs in an outing. Before that, he had a 2.77, and he had given up 4 runs in a month. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they had a couple guys that gave up some runs in some games, but how do you call a dude a bust? That's the only time he's given up more than 2 runs the whole year. He'd only given up runs in 5 games.
Look, like I said,
Mo, you're a new listener. We love you, though.
Yeah, thank you, Mo.
We're all back to say we love you, Mo.
I'm arguing with Roger too. Suggested it. I don't know. You can say it. What do you mean a bust?
I didn't say he was a bust. The guy said he was a bust. I did not say he was a bust.
I'm not mad at you, I'm just saying,
no. That's what he said.
One bad outing, and this
Calm
is
down.
what happens in the bullpen.
We're having a.
What? So with Brevia, I mean, he's got the second highest walk rate in the bullpen. The highest is Kenta Maeda.
There, Mike.
who doesn't exist anymore. I think that what worries me about the bullpen is the strikeouts. They have the 6th lowest strikeout rate of any relief corps in the majors. They weren't striking out a ton of guys last year either and got the job done. It's just, in those 1-1 games, like Mo was talking about, was Mo, right? It's hard to trust pitchers who pitch to contact in 1-run games. It's just hard for me to do that. And it's not even their fault, right? It could be weak contact in the wrong spot. You just want a little bit more swing and miss.
Yeah, that's it.
And again, we're nitpicking. This is the best team in baseball. It's where can they improve? I think that's an obvious spot. Maybe they can't. Maybe this is it's really good and they need to get a bat or something or another starter. But I mean, I don't have any serious problems with the bullpen. I just think it could be better.
Yeah. I like what Alan said here, and that's Dylan Smith gets the audition, so we need the wait. And that's exactly what it is. They're going to put, like I said, they're going to call up some guys to see if they get some more swing and miss. I like what Detroit Degenerate said too. I think they're doing okay. They look extremely tired. And the bullpen did. I mean, Hinch did say on Sunday. He said it wasn't a must-win game, but that was a good game for the bullpen to get some rest, much needed rest. Mm-hmm. And you have Olsen, who's coming back soon. You have with whatever's going on with Jobe. So the Tigers need all the health they can get, starter-wise and relief-wise, too, because they don't really have much. I hate to say that. I sound weird by saying this, but their starter depth outside of Montero, it's kind of a drop-off after that. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you're dipping into some of the organizational guys like Wilkel Hernandez. Gibson Long is on his way back.
Yeah.
Did Cobb pitch tonight? He was supposed to, right?
Yeah, I think he was supposed to.
I didn't
was
even look
supposed
to see if he.
West Michigan, right?
I didn't even look to see if he did. Um, the one other thing I did want to address real quick was the. I'm looking now. The Tigers' performance in one-run games. They are 10-5 in one-run games. That is a 667 winning percentage. They are 649 winning percentage overall. So that's not too far off. They are 35-17 in 9-inning games. That's a 673 winning percentage. They're just winning all games. Like they're winning lots of games. It's one run blowout. Their craziest split is home road. They're 21-8 at home. That's a 724 winning percentage, and they're 16-12 on the road. So I don't know. They're winning a lot. You can't rely on one run wins for the entire season, but they seem to have the knack for it.
But wait, West Michigan right now? No, it was Max Alba who started for him. He started 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, and then Kenny Swerva came in, 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. He's posted an ERA of 2.83. The bullpen, by the way, there's another thing. Here's another stat for you before we move on to the good, the bad, the ugly this week. Erie's bullpen here's the thing about Erie. This is what's frustrating about Akron right now. The Seawolves bullpen is 1.89. The second closest, I think it was Akron at 2.64. They have an ERA sub 2, and it cannot get away from Akron. That's how good Akron's been playing. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think they do have the tiebreaker over Akron right now, but yeah. In the West Michigan's bullpen just got Preston Howie back. Howie, who I know nobody seems to care as much as I do that his sister is an actress. And I did not know that. Like in actual movies, she was in Kind of Pregnant with Amy Schumer. She's the snarky best friend. She's actually in stuff. But whatever.
I like the way that Devin Ninja Beast here this analogy. The Little League game last year turned this team into a monster. So and Daniel Anderson, that's a good point too. It was long ago the Tigers were losing these 1-run games and they had a faulty bullpen. And again, then
you know what did it? It was the Jim Leland game, right? Wasn't that when it really I don't know, people don't want to hear this, but I think they're close.
Yeah.
Turn around, I think so. They got a lot of talent out there. You can't tell, but they're going to win soon.
Oh man, that was a good Leland impression.
All right.
All right. The good, the bad. See, I sound like Elvis. That's a horrible. Good, the bad, the ugly. All right, Uper. While I go get another kombucha because these things are delicious. I'm not endorsing these because I'm not going to get paid for them. But if you get a Health Aid in kombucha, the passion fruit, delicious.
Nice.
If you're trying to cut back on pop and stuff like that. Uper, what is your good, the bad, the ugly this week?
All right. My good doesn't get much better. And we talked about it a little bit already, but I wanted to kind of talk about it just a little bit more because it deserves it. The Scooble gem on Sunday was just, other than a no-hitter or perfect game, what gets better than that? I know Chris put it out there. I've always loved the stat. He had a 96 game score through the Bill James game scores system. Just thoroughly dominant. I was running around southern Minnesota, listening to it on the radio, watching a little bit in my car as we had appointments all over the place with that early start. But, it just makes you wonder what the future is with Tarek Skubal. There's no question. He has the bulldog in him. He has the talent. He just has that stinking injury history, and with free agency looming, we have to always step back and enjoy what they have now, right? Because he's so fun to watch. Every start of his is a spectacle, really. Even on the nights where he gives up a couple of runs, it's still amazing to watch. I've been wondering if he's just so dead set on hitting the market with Scott Boras. We don't know what's in his mind there. But I do wonder if they could do some kind of deferred payment schedule like Max Scherzer had once upon a time with the Nationals, like Shohei Ohtani, probably not as drastic as Ohtani's, but something like that, where they could get him on the payroll for the future, and it just would he'd be willing to take it over many, many years. I don't know if that's possible. It may not even be in the Tigers' interest to do that. If they may, Chris Ilitch may want nothing to do with that. But the start on Sunday was, I've been going back in my mind, other than the no hitters, what was as dominant as that? Just over the years, I've been watching the Tigers since the 70s. There aren't that many. Jack Morris had a couple. Juan Berenguer had a big start once in a doubleheader that was amazing. And you can find a few more. I mean, the imperfect game with Andres Galarraga, obviously. But this one against a division rival after 3 straight game losses, when you're supposed to be the stopper, the old baseball term, that was the definition of being one right there. So that was my good. And my bad, it's Matt Vierling. Unfortunate, comes back for a couple games. Now he's back on the IL. Sounds like it could be a lengthy visit again. So I don't know if that means surgery coming or just extended rehab, but it's looking pretty likely that they're going to get nothing out of him throughout the summer. So what does that mean? With Jace Young back in the minors, they're going to be playing a lot of McKinstry and a few others at third, kind of rotating through there. That's why we talked about Eugenio Suarez. I don't know. Do the Tigers want to give up one of their really good prospects to bring in a top flight bat, even if it's not at third, just to plug that one hole in the lineup? I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but it is unfortunate to see Vierling. I was really hoping he would come back and be the guy he was last year, and that would probably been enough to really patch that hole at third for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I was really hoping. I thought that was, that the current offense is kind of, you figured that Baez and Sweeney were going to cool off for sure, but they needed somebody else to lengthen that lineup, and I thought Vierling was going to be it. And yeah, I mean, to me, if you're out for 3 months or whatever it was, and you come back and you're back for like 4 games and you're back on the IL, that to me suggests probably he's done for the year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
It's like this is something that may need surgery or 8 months of rest or something like that, which is a huge bummer. But it's just the way it is. And yeah, I do think that it may make them more likely to trade for somebody.
Mike's idea of Yanni Diaz is not bad either. It's
he's not really a third baseman anymore, though. That's I don't think
first base
I think he's
DH type, isn't he?
Yeah. I think and they have, is it Jonathan Aranda playing first base now?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's mostly a DH.
Yeah, the eternal options at third base too are not. The Tigers don't really have anybody as of right now. Like Hyu Lee, Colin and I have debated about and Colin has seen him more in person. He doesn't have the arm range. He has a range to play, but the arm. Sometimes he'll skip a throw, but
I just wonder. Last year they were willing to give Jace Young a chance down the stretch, and that would probably, in my mind, play to how Lee's favor a little bit. That they might be willing to give him a try there.
It's possible they could. I think we might just get Parker Meadows in center and Javi Baez at third.
Yeah, seems most likely.
So
could well be it. My last thing, you guys touched on it earlier, so it's not a big deal. I was going to go with the good, the bad, and the prognostication. And I had it all written down here. I can prove it. But as Chris noted, and Roger's been saying, I'm not sure that big bullpen trade comes. It wouldn't shock me at all if they don't get someone who's kind of a brand name closer or a fire-breathing fastball artist. I think when you look back at how that bullpen was built last year with the Brendan Hanafis of the world and the Sean Gunthers of the world, it's very plausible that Tyler Owens gets another chance. Wilkel Hernandez, now they have Dylan Smith up today. I don't know what Horn is not out for the year, is he?
I don't think so. Bailey Horn?
No. He just hit the IL the other day.
Yeah. So I mean, they have Pettit, they have Melton in AA. I mean, there are things they can try. When you think of what they did last year when they brought up Brent Herter with a 5+ ERA in the minors, and all of a sudden he's pitching in leveraged spots. I wouldn't be shocked if they run it back again and give that method a chance. rather than spend significant assets on dicey bullpen arms. Now, with that said, they're in a different position this year, right? They have the best record in baseball at times. Um, Most contenders add to their bullpen, right? I mean, it's not any surprise that if you're a division leader or you're 2 games back in your division, you're probably looking to add bullpen. So they might, but my prediction is they will not. I think they won't find the right deal. I think they're more likely to add a third baseman, and we'll see what happens.
If they're gonna go a route that might be cheap, and this is something that I could see him doing, is a guy who hits lefties pretty well and plays multiple positions, fits right into what Hinge likes to do. It's Santiago Espinal. Santiago
Espinal
Espinal.
is he
the
still in
Reds.
the Reds? Okay,
Yeah.
I remember him on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think
right?
he was with Toronto. He's been with Cincinnati the last couple of years. He doesn't hit a lot for power, but if you're looking at splits, he hits 305 against lefties. And he can play multiple positions. He's on a contract for 1 year, 2.4 million. It's not the sexiest name in the world, but if you're gonna go, I really want to go big names, but the Tigers don't seem to have that MO as of yet. That's a guy who, worth consideration because he also can play. He can also play third. He can play second. He can play left field and right field, and play short in a pinch. There you go. So
One possibility that I don't know if I've heard other people mention. I'm sure somebody has mentioned it, but and I talked I think my first ugly of the year was Will Bednar.
yeah,
Not Will Bednar. Is it? Yeah. What's that? David Bednar, not Will
Bednar.
Bednar. Yeah, Will's his brother. He's back up with the Pirates now and pitching pretty well. He's got closer experience. I think he's got 2 years of team control still. He had that bumpy road. The Pirates need bats like crazy. They don't need a closer. That could be somebody they might target. I don't know.
that's good.
And when I said Will Bednar, I believe he was drafted by the Giants when Scott Harris was there. So maybe there's some familiarity with the Bednar clan.
So I asked. By the way, Alan wanted to know if there's a possibility Max Anderson could play third. Alan, I did get a chance to talk to Max Anderson on Saturday when I was on Erie. They haven't put him on third yet, so I think he's just trying to get more. He's trying to get better at second base, and just kind of like work with this defense right now. So, but
Pirates could use a second baseman.
yeah, Johan Makata. We'll see. Yeah,
He's having a solid year. He's walking a lot, but
yeah.
He's been hurt a lot too.
I think We2's right though. They'll probably bring back Young first before they'll try anything else again.
Yeah.
So who's okay? Mike, you want to go with your good, bad, and the ugly?
Sure. My good is a bullpen arm that I just kind of mentioned earlier. Chase Lee, just worth mentioning again. He's 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. He really does look like they didn't have a uniform small enough for him. And I'm only making this joke to just kind of point out like how well he's doing because I have all his stats here. Just the point is he has 5 seasons in the minors. He's given up a hit per inning. He's had a whip near 1.5. He's at 3 walks per 9 innings usually. But he comes up to the majors. He's got a 1.26 ERA, 0.837 whip. His walk rate is down a little bit to 2.5. He's given up 2 runs in 14 and a third innings pitched. He was used on Tuesday in a high leverage situation. The Tigers, it was a hold situation. Tigers used him for 2 innings after Jack Flaherty and he handed off the ball to Vest, who got the save for the 3-1 win. I love seeing this another no-name guy from AAA. Tigers are bringing up. Saying that he doesn't think that they're going to pull up, they're going to trade for a bullpen arm. It's because they're pulling guys like this, like they pulled Gunther and Hannafy out last year, and he's just working. I don't know if it's going to continue, but it's working right now, and that's what's worth pointing out.
I like it.
He's got a great story. I don't know if you know much about his story.
I don't.
He wasn't even on the team in Alabama. He was on the club team.
Yeah.
And I think he had to wait like 2 years or something like that to finally get on Alabama, and now he's their all-time ERA leader.
That explains
Really?
why he had like 11 innings pitched in 2 different seasons there or something. It was a very low number. Kind of
Yeah.
explains a little bit. That's awesome. I guess I went with 3 specific players for mine today. My bad is kind of a little bit of a stretch, but we don't view things in a vacuum. We view things in reality. My bad is Juan Soto. Yes,
Ooh.
he's in year 1 of that 15-year, $765,000. Yeah, $765,000 contract. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. He just hasn't hit for any power this year. He has 8 home runs. He's slugging 393. He's got a 1. He's always ranked negatively on the defensive side, and his defense hasn't gotten any better. I guess why would you expect it to? But he signed through his age 40 season. I'm not saying that this may or may not continue, but maybe it will. He's had a 113 WRC plus, so it's not like he's terrible. It's just you're paying him a lot of money to be a little bit of like above average, and I don't know. Just it's he's in New York, so people are not happy right now,
No.
and I'm just thinking like, man, if Javi did that in the last couple of years, like I might be fine with him, So it's just can't view things are relative, but
Yeah.
No, he's paid to be a Hall of Famer.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's one of the big bat speed droppers this year. His bat
Yeah.
speed's down by 2 miles per hour. We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago with Javi Baez. I don't know if
Instead-
it means anything, but
Yeah. Or instead, now he's
You know, that was the best dump of my career.
just taking the best dump of his career right now.
And then my ugly is I feel like I gotta bring up something about the Twins every week in one of mine. My ugly is Royce Lewis. He is currently in a 6-game 0 for 24 stretch. He's slashing 138, 215, 415 for the year in 19 games played. He's got a WRC plus of 17. Yes, 17,
Ooh.
1-7. We talked about how there are always Twins on the IL, but I still hate the fact that he was a special player just a couple of years ago. 2023, it looked like he could be on the verge of being one of those really, really good all-around players. And instead, he had this quote that kind of scared me a little bit. If I was a Twins fan, I'd be frightened. And this is from the Star Tribune. He said, "I'm at a point where the hope is gone. I just do my job the best I can. If I keep hitting the ball hard, they say it's going to find a hole, but I haven't seen it yet." That is very, very scary to hear what you thought may have been one of your star players saying.
Wow.
But, the Twins, they're cooling off considering they're not in a 16 of 17 game, stretch, winning 16 of 17. But they can't really afford this with the AL Central. I mean, obviously the AL Central being as strong as it is, they really can't afford that. So something like this, in my opinion, is magnified with the way that the AL Central looks right now. And they're going to be really missing him when they're losing a series and losing ground, which is what I think is going to happen.
All right, so update from Mo. Quick live update. Tigers going to have the best record in MLB. Just a half inning of after the Braves and Phillies game. Well, there you go.
yeah. And that I believe Chris Sale became the fastest player ever to 2,500 strikeouts in that game.
Nice. Yeah, his strikeouts per inning is ridiculous too. There was a Hall of Fame question. That was a Hall of Fame question, that came up in Tigers trivia in our Discord a couple days ago. All right, Chris.
Yeah. So my good is Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. Most Tigers fans may remember him as the guy who got robbed by Parker Meadows.
Yeah.
Although I think our audience is smarter than that. They know he's quite a good player. He's pretty much the best catcher in baseball. Over the last since 2022, he's 10th in all of baseball in FWAR.
Wow.
And he never hits for much average, but he walks a fair amount, and he's got a bunch of home runs. He hit 34 home runs last year, 30 the year before. He's at 19 this year. If he gets to 30 again, he will just be just the 5th catcher ever with 3 30 home run seasons, joining Johnny Bench, Roy Campanella, and Mickey Tettleton. Each had 4.
Nice.
And Mike Piazza had 9. But yeah, like, you know, he's putting up numbers that you don't see from catchers. So he's been awesome and good for Seattle. My bad is Sandy Alcantara. We also remember him as the Cy Young winner from a couple years ago. He was that throwback, right? You know, pitching tons of innings, multiple complete games, and then what do you know? His arm blew out. Now, I don't want to blame it necessarily on that. We see guys who blow out their arms after 15 pitches, but yeah, it's been rough for him this year. He is currently sitting at negative 1.4 BWAR. It's actually only negative 0.02 to Fangraphs, but it's so bad on Baseball Reference because his ERA is 8.47. The main culprit this year seems to be wildness. He's walking over 12% of the batters he faces, and his four-seamer is getting crushed. He's still throwing 97, but batters are slugging 638 against it. It's a little bit of a Jackson Jobe problem. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, this is a very talented guy who's coming back from Tommy John, and it's not going great just yet. I know that some people are like, "Hey, go get him, trade for him now, and fix him," and that might be fun. But I don't know if the Marlins would be willing to sell that low on a guy. So I don't know, but it's bad right now.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And you know, my ugly was going to be my reeling shoulder. We already touched on that, so I went with AJ Smith-Shawver, another Braves pitcher. He had the dreaded pop in his elbow today, which is a huge bummer. It's funny because he feels like he's been around forever, but he's younger than Jackson Jobe. He came up to the big leagues when he was 20, 3 years ago, and he didn't pitch much last year. And he looked like he was figuring it out this year. He was finally putting it all together, and you know, it's like a 3.8 ERA, 3.8 FIP, so looking good. And yeah, that's probably a blown out elbow, and it probably means we won't see him again until 2027, which is a huge bummer. He'll still only be 24, but yeah, it sucks. And you know, his initials are ass. That's always fun.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been an ass. All right, so my good this week is my good and my bad and my ugly are a little different this week. So my good is Kyler Montero, and the reason why I mentioned him is his start on his last start was the 5th time that he has gone five innings more and has not allowed a run. And that's impressive considering that we always talk about, I mean, he doesn't have the big sexy numbers, but he goes out there, gives them quality 5 innings, and doesn't allow a run. And that, you're talking about a span of like a year and a half, almost just under 30 starts or so. And so that's impressive. And I think that's worth mentioning. And because he's the fact that he's come a long way since the days of like Connecticut, like, you know, being a Connecticut and everything. So, Tim, yeah, you beat me to the punch about my ugly. So we'll talk about that in a second. My badass. It's not bad. It's badass.
Yes.
That, you know, my badass is Onel Cruz because that guy is a bad mother. You know what? He
Shut
hit
your
a
mouth.
ball. Yeah, shut your mouth. He hit a
Just
ball.
talk about
100. Yeah, he hit 100. So he's playing center field now. So he got converted to center field. He hit a ball 102 miles an hour on Sunday. And hit
122.
Pardon me?
122.
122.
Yeah.
Sorry, 122 at over 422 feet or something like that. Something like that, right?
It went a metric ton of
Yeah.
feet. I don't know. He crushed it.
Yeah, he crushed it. But then same throw, or same game, he made a 104 mile an hour throw, that sailed off the backstop. So he is a guy that he's really eager to improve. I know he's still working on. He's still he's in the top 10. Like, I have him on my fantasy team. He drives me nuts because he does strike out at 30%, 32% clip. So he has increased his walk rate, but I'm really rooting for this kid because he is just his work ethic, but the fact that like he's been hitting the ball like just bombs. I mean, to the point where it was Ken Rosenthal did an article, and in the article they said Ryan Hensley said from the Colonel said he goes, "Go to first base, dude. I want to live." To just like walk him, because I mean, imagine that coming back at you. You're dead. You're dead. Like I mean, it's just like that home run he hit was. I remember where was I? What was that Sunday? I'm trying to remember where it was Sunday. Oh man, I can't remember. I was drawing a blank. I think with my brother or something. I can't remember where it was. But I'm watching this happen. I'm just like, holy mother pearl. Just I didn't see mother pearl. You know what I said. But yeah, it was just it's crazy. But he's on pace to hit 34 home runs. He's a badass. So that's my badass of the week. My ugly is the poor groundskeeper who got caught on camera with his kneecap being dislocated, and everybody's making a big deal about him flicking off the camera. I would flick off the camera too if you were just looking at me and I busted out my kneecap. It was the point where Cole Keefe said that it was ugly. He actually saw it happen, and I feel bad for the guy. I don't know who that guy is, but tip of the cap to him. I wouldn't want to be on camera either, just like people gawking at me or anything like that. It's just ridiculous. Like,
I'm sure some, chucklehead in the crowd was like, "Get up! You're wasting the," like thought he just fell down and was like, you're get the game going. Come on.
Yeah.
That's probably why he flicked him off.
We too. I'm not sure what happened. It just maybe he had like. It happens to me before. Sometimes I have a random flat tire. Chris has seen this happen to me where literally also my ankle just goes and I fall.
Happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Every now and then you just eat it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a dislocated kneecap in person?
I don't want to.
No.
Oh, let me tell you. I used to coach a million years ago. I coached girls high school basketball back in the UP, right? And I was a young guy. I was like 22, whatever I was, 23. And my first aid skills were not great by any stretch. Nobody cared back then if you knew anything about that. Well, sure enough, man, one of the girls dislocated her kneecap. She got twisted up under the basket, and it was during practice, and I thought I was going to puke. I really did. I kept it. I didn't, and I had to call an ambulance because I didn't know what the hell to do with her. And we got her, and she was fine. But she was done for the year. And, but it's not pretty. I'm glad they didn't show a picture of that on screen.
Yeah.
Man, you guys never saw anyone like when you were kids? I remember a kid literally having a bone like show through his leg. Like he hit a drain pipe. We're playing football and the bone just came up through his knee. And I'll never forget this. This kid was like 10, 11 years old. And he looks at it and he literally just says the calmest demeanor, "Oh, that's not good."
Yeah.
And he hopped away on one foot to his house. This kid was like calmest ever, and his bone was sticking out of his leg.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the only comparable thing that I've seen.
No, that's I look. I see my own bone. Like I fell off the monkey bars when I was in first grade, and I hit my arm against a rock, and I saw it happen myself, and I was nauseous. And yeah. So it's shock. Yeah, it's shock. It definitely is shock. It's one of those things where we had the worst I've ever seen anything happen. Where there was a guy I used to run cross country back in high school. We're running back. I think we're doing like a 6-mile trek or something, and one dude like messed up his ankle, and he was like, luckily it was just a bunch of it was blood though, but it was blisters that popped too, and that was pretty bad. But then there's a guy on our soccer team. Like I ended up playing soccer for 2 years. A guy named Billy. He was always a little off, but he could do it like we could do is like he could throw a wicked. He did a backflip throw in, and it was really cool. But Billy wasn't exactly all there, and he cut himself until we were pointing to showing his bone like right here on his middle finger, and he was like going like this, going rah, rah, and we were like, "Dude, Billy, all right, man, smoke another one, dude. I don't know what's going on with you, but yeah, it was anyway." But no, other than that, I'm grateful I've not seen anything like that.
I guess I've never been around any kind of serious injury, like nothing. I don't even think I've been around somebody who broke their leg or anything. I was in a car accident and broke my hand, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, my younger brother had a bad car accident when he got actually in a helicopter out to Ann Arbor, and I remember him being sedated. He was being under the haze of the medication, painkillers, and he wakes up because he was unconscious. He wakes up and the first thing he says, he goes, "Oh, my dick hurts, man. I got a catheter."
Oh,
Yeah, the catheter. There's something in my dick.
Dude, man, one of my earliest memories of life. I was 3 years old, just turned 3 years old. My brother basically got his face eaten off by a Great Dane dog.
Oh,
He had to get reconstructive surgery in his face.
oh my God.
Like my entire childhood, my memory of my brother is of half of his face literally just like destroyed.
Okay.
And
All right.
God,
Okay.
what?
Yeah.
he lost a third
That
of his
Dane
mouth.
doesn't sound great at all.
He looks fine. Hey, the doctors did a great job. He looks like a normal human being, but you can tell.
Trigger warning.
The only thing that you could tell with is when he opens his mouth, he lost like a third of his mouth. I don't know how that works. That doesn't make any sense to me. But like a third of it's just gone on one side.
Okay.
But yeah, that's like one of my earliest memories. I was 3 years old when this happened, and he ran home holding a towel to his face, and the towel was red, but the towel wasn't red when he put it to his face.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way.
Anyway, sorry if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I got a great.
story. Okay, we're good. I saw. We too said I saw a guy get hit by a car once, and he was literally helicoptered over another car, hit the road, and then got up and ran to the shoulder. That's insane. Yeah, that's a village. That's
I mean, Tara has seen somebody get hit by a car before. I don't know, man. I just I've injured myself pretty badly, with lots of stitches, but I've never seen anybody else get. I don't know. We'll see.
Mo says I'm missing my left one, and I'm just gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm leaving it at that. You know what? I don't want to know. You know what, Mo? I'm sorry that you. Yeah, well, use your imagination, and hopefully, was it baseball related? I got hit in the nuts once playing shortstop. The only time I ever played the infield, I got hit in the nuts, and I wasn't wearing a cup that day, and that sucked. But all right. On that note, the Tigers. Let's do a preview of the upcoming series. The Tigers, real quick, have I don't think the Royals have announced their starters for Saturday, right?
Saturday, it's Waka.
It's Waka. Okay.
Lubich.
Okay.
Yeah, and they got Lugo. Lugo's back. They miss Reagans because he's on the IL still, but and Mize is pitching tomorrow, right?
Yep, Mize is pitching tomorrow. So Mize against Lugo tomorrow, and then that's gonna be an 8:10 start. Saturday's game, the last game of May. Sorry, I can't believe it's already in May. Is Skubal against Waka, and then Sunday 2:10 game start will be Montero against Bubik. Is that how you say it?
Bubich, yeah.
Bubich, yeah.
And
so
Walker got that killer changeup. That's going to be something to watch right there. He's
That's
gonna
right.
throw that, not as much as Canley, but he throws it a lot.
Bubich is I know it doesn't matter, but right now he's the favorite to win the Cy Young over Skubal right now.
Yeah.
By a lot of places.
The Reds. Wow. The Royals have just lost 2 out of 3 against the Reds. So they were coming in. They won the last game of the salvage, a 3-game set. So if in case you're wondering how they're doing that, and then before that they lost 2 out of 3 to Minnesota. So it should be a good series for the Tigers if they can. The Tigers had some really strange times where they play at Kansas City, and that place is a weird ballpark for Detroit. But
I think the Royals typically do well against Skubal for whatever reason.
Yeah. But by the way, the Royals are 18-11 at home this year. So in case you're wondering about that,
Not a lot of power. So the Tigers are. I would imagine this is going to be kind of a continuation, and you never know, but of the San Francisco series. I bet it's going to be kind of low scoring. Mistakes are going to be huge. I mean, but if your defense is tight, it's going to be about chasing those good matchups again.
it should be, And go ahead, Mike.
Is the way to beat the Royals just the Bobby Boucher method, where if you just walk him? Do they have anyone on offense that's doing anything right now? Like when they kneeled 3 times and punted, so Waterboy couldn't do anything. I feel like that's what you do with the Royals, and they can't do anything at all right now. I mean, Vinny Pasquantino is picking up a little bit, but holy crap, I did not think that this offense was going to be that bad.
But they have somebody.
Luckily, they're catching the Royals before they promote Jack Caglione.
Jack Leone, I was just going to say, Caglione is already hitting in Omaha.
Yeah.
And somebody in the Discord's like, oh, I don't think he's that good of a hitter. Bullshit. Bullshit. That guy has a lot of power for days.
We'll see. He fascinates me because he swings at everything. And he's got, he makes contact with everything. But I feel like big leaguers aren't going to throw him strikes at all. And he's going to have to prove that he can lay off big league pitches out of the zone. And he probably will. Yeah. He's very good. But it's kind of an interesting profile.
Yeah, by the way, so before the end of the podcast tonight, the Tigers had a sweep of the doubleheader against Erie against Reading tonight. The Whitecaps trounced Dayton 14-1, and Lakeland didn't play tonight, did they?
Lakeland played 2 games today. Tampa, they lost the first one. It was a continuation from 2 days ago, and the second game was yesterday's game, and they split. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so there you go. And then, by the way, everybody, for those who are wondering, the Dominican Summer League starts on June 2nd. So it's coming up on Monday? Monday is June 2nd already. Right. Yep. So there you go. Go to TigersMLReport.com if you want to check out. If you type in Dylan Smith, there's a Dylan Smith scouting report. And there's also an article on Diamonds in the Rough where I did I did a scouting report on Smith, and then I did another article on him being kind of a diamond in the rough this year as a guy potentially get called up. I thought he'd get called up more towards the later part of the year, but here we are. And we also, on our Patreon, we did a bonus episode about him as well. We talked to him and we broke him down a little bit too. And again, if you're a subscriber of Patreon, we put some extra stuff on there. We don't. And we're all volunteers and we're all getting paid not very much to do this, and so some guys not at all, but we appreciate the donations, everything like that. Honestly, it means a lot, so thank you. Is Javier Osorio for real? That's the last question for the evening.
I don't know if you saw it. We put up one of his games. He had a good game the other day, a homer, a single, a double. He's making a lot of hard contact. It still looks awfully raw out there. Like he swings. He's another guy who swings just about everything. And the defense is really rough. I think these eight errors in 14 games, something like that. But he's also got 5 home runs in 14 games. I don't know. I think he's where he needs to be, right? Like this is a kid who spent 3 years in the DSL for a reason. He really struggled early on. Let him play in the Gulf Coast League or Florida Complex League, as it were. There's no rush. He's 20 years old. Let him get acclimated, figure some things out, but. Yeah, it's certainly a positive development right now.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, Chris, is it always, let me ask you this, does it take a year, how long does it take before a player like that kind of comes to fruition, if you will? I mean, in terms of DSL, did you want to see that right away?
90% of the time, the best players who come through the minors spend 1 year in the DSL. The other 10% skip over it entirely. It's very rare to see anybody succeed even after spending 2 years in the DSL. I always bring up Starling Marte. I think he did. I've never heard of somebody who spent 3 years down there and then went on to be a good hitter. It doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means that I haven't dug into it fully. Normally, you want to see those guys move, but the book on Osorio apparently was that he was super raw and like hadn't played much baseball and was just like a great athlete, and they were betting on the tools. And they are loud. You watch him though; he's got a bunch of steals too, but he's thick. Like he's kind of Nomar Afanya, Juan Uribe, like thick, strong, muscular kind of infielder. Wouldn't shock me if he ultimately ends up in like right field or something like that. But right now he's hitting like it doesn't matter where he plays, so that's fun.
Yeah. And that's, again, the more developments of that, the better for the international side. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening at home, like I said, if you want to get anything Dylan Smith related, go to TigersMLReport.com. Check out the scouting report. There's also our Patreon. There's a bunch of YouTube. On YouTube, we have Dylan Smith stuff galore. So just go to our YouTube and
one of our best video, our biggest videos ever was our post-draft Dylan Smith video for some reason.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
mom
that's
liked
good.
it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was right. That was a good call. It's like over 4,000 views on that, something like that. But yeah, all the Dylan Smith content you can have and want, it's there. So keep it classy, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. We'll talk to you Monday for the minor league show. Have a good night, everybody.